What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Badcube, formerly known as Cubex, Old Timer Series number 2, and this is Brawny. And if you haven't guessed by now, he is a third-party Brawn. And before I go any further, I just want to give a special shout out to my good buddy Fear Corpse on Twitter, who actually sent this guy to me to review. I'm very grateful that you sent this to me so I could take a look at it and express my thoughts on it, and without having to actually go pick it up. So thank you so much. Check him out on Twitter. He's an awesome guy. And that's at Fear Corpse on Twitter. Anyway, let's get back to Brawny here. You can see it's a very, very realistic alt mode. So much so that I questioned whether I liked it or not. I find myself to be kind of a conundrum in this regard. I think it looks great. I think it's awesome. But I'm not entirely sure I prefer the alt mode. I mean, I think aesthetically it looks way better than the iGear variant, and this is the Vanguard, not the actual whatever they called them. But yeah, I'm not sure I kind of like, I mean, I really like the way this looks over this one, but for the same reasons that I liked, you know, the Cubex Huffer over the X-Transbot version, is because that cartoon look, and I couldn't off the top of my head remember an episode to look up to see exactly what he looked like, so this may be closer to the cartoon than I realize, and I'm just not remembering it right. I do know he had that one episode where he has the drill, which they graciously include, which is cool. It's kind of ridiculous. A car with a little tiny drill on the front would not actually, you know, make it capable of traversing down the hole it was drilling, but whatever. But yeah, for kind of the same reasons I like Huff over the X-Transbots version, it's because this one was what I saw in the cartoon, and I don't remember seeing a truck that looked exactly like this. That said, it is a bit hypocritical of me to like that better when I prefer the actual Masterpiece Bumblebee for its realistic car mode over the Toy World B. So, it's kind of a personal taste thing. That said, like I said, this is a very, very awesome truck mode, and you know, I can't really hold it against it, the fact that it doesn't kind of look like the toy so much outside of the coloring. For a couple more comparisons here, you already saw the Cubex Huff, and you saw Masterpiece Bumblebee. Here's the X-Transbots, well, the mold that would be Huffer. And finally, here's our old MP10. So you can see he scales very nicely with the Masterpiece style toys, and has a very realistic alt mode, which is a plus, in my opinion, for the Masterpiece toys, even if it doesn't sound like I said that earlier. So here we've got Brawny in his robot mode, and I gotta say, right off the bat, everything about this guy, transformation engineering, pretty superior to most of his competitors. The plastic feels extraordinarily high quality compared to the Huffer counterpart that they released last year. The transformation is loads more interesting than this guy. Plastic feels good. Yeah, he's really not bad. That said, I still think that this looks a bit too bulky for me. I wish that maybe the lower part here didn't exist so much, and yep, thanks, Ivy. It's my dog. Anyway, yeah, I wish that this kind of cut in a little. I see, like, the iGear version has that, like, skinnier torso going on, and he just ends up feeling a little bit barrel-chested, a little bit fat for my taste. I would have liked him to be a little bit skinnier, but in person he's not as bad as he seems to look in the pictures. Fear Corpse added a little Autobot logo right to the center. Can't say I disagree with that one. So let's go over some articulation on this guy. The head is on a very Masterpiece style system with the hinge and the rotation. A little bit bummed out that we have such a big open space on the back, but I suppose given that he has a big flap behind, you really don't end up seeing it from most poses, so not a huge deal breaker. Arms are on a swivel and a rotation, which is ratcheted. The elbows here, you do have, I thought you had, yeah, you do, it's just super tight. a bicep swivel. I'm not going to do that too much because it just feels way tighter than it needs to be. The actual elbow is ratcheted at the green piece. The silver piece is just on a swivel, a friction-based swivel, which is fine because if you were holding something heavy, at least you got the green one to provide support. The actual wrist is on a rotation joint plus the little bit of swivel you get out of it, and the fingers are not individually articulated, just the one 3-piece, or I should say 4-piece attached together single swivel. Coming down to the waist, he still does have a waist joint, which is nice. The legs on a universal joint here, friction based. The top of this does get in the way of his legs a little bit, but it's not horrible. Again, it might be, you know, where it would have been beneficial to make this all a little bit more narrow so he doesn't look so big. But yeah, it works just fine. There is a thigh rotation there. Forward and back on this, it is on a ratcheted piece here. You can see, very nice metal ratchet, so should be pretty durable there. I don't think it'll affect the plastic if it was done correctly. Coming down to the knees, you do have that double jointed knee, so you get a nice range of articulation out of that. And then the foot, you saw that swivel system, you do get a little bit of ankle tilt, the rotation, and then of course the toe. Now I addressed this in the actual transformation review, but outside of the barrel chestedness, the other thing that really kind of bothers me is that there's no connection for the waist here. It would have been nice if there was some way that this plugged into the top part, so that all held together better. It wouldn't affect the articulation at all to put it in there. If you did plug this to the back piece, of course it would. This just kind of freely dangles back here and leaves this little gap, a little mechanism that maybe allowed this to slide in and cover up that side a little. Wouldn't have been horrible either. But yeah, that doesn't happen. So let's get some comparisons. The most obvious one has to be the iGear version. Definitely an improvement over the iGear version in overall size. Again, still like the body proportions of this one a little bit better. I actually do like the enclosed head a little more than I like this one, but this is definitely a lot easier to work with. Last time you saw this guy, he was doing a nice little dance. That has been fixed, and then he got put away, and we have another problem. Paint came off of his chest there, but here is their huffer. Who knows what's going to happen next time we put him away. He at least stands with stuff on his own now, so that's a plus. If you bought into the X-Transbots, guys, here they are for comparison. And of course, since he's designed to scale with Masterpiece, here is the Masterpiece G2 side swipe. We'll take our Masterpiece Bumblebee, and we will finish this with MP10 Optimus, just so you can see an overall size comparison. When it comes down to it, it's a well-engineered toy. It looks really good. A little bit fat in the midsection, like I've said once or twice, or 3 times, or who knows how many times at this point. But not horrible, definitely better in person. The problem is the price tag on this guy and Outback, who I find Outback to be more interesting looking personally, is really expensive. Like, I wish we could have got the two of them for like $120, but they go for like, I forget, like $150 or something like that, and it's just a little bit too much for the combo. I think each individually runs like $80. I may be wrong, but that just feels a bit too much for this guy. I really would have liked to have seen him been like $60 or even less personally. But yeah, he's a very solid figure, definitely a upgrade over what CubeX has released or Badcube has previously released. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Once again, big shout out to Fear Corps on Twitter. Check them out, and I'll see you guys next week.